You could be sitting in front of somebody, you could be in a room of 20, 50 people, you could be at a coffee shop working, and you could still feel lonely. Lonely doesn't always mean that you're alone. Lonely doesn't just mean the definition of whatever it is. It is something deeper that I think I figured out the root of it. Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. My name is Megan. If you guys have not been here before, thank you so much for coming. Today I want to talk about something that isn't talked about enough in my opinion. And I wrote out a bunch of notes and I kind of just said screw it to those notes because I just want to speak to you guys from the heart in terms of how to deal with loneliness. Loneliness is such a real thing. It is so hard to explain sometimes, and it's something that a lot of entrepreneurs and solopreneurs and if you're working from home now because of the pandemic, a lot of us deal with this, and it's not always easy, and it's not always easy to explain. Because you could be sitting in front of somebody, you could be in a room of 20, 50 people, you could be at a coffee shop working, and you could still feel lonely. Lonely doesn't always mean that you're alone. Lonely doesn't just mean the definition of whatever it is. It is something deeper that I think I figured out the root of it. So I wanted to talk to you guys about this because I know I've definitely brought this up in my vlogs before, and it's something that I have been dealing with ever since I have had this job where I am an entrepreneur and I work from home and I don't have any coworkers around me, and quite frankly I don't really have anyone that I need to speak to every single day. So as you can imagine, it does get lonely, and I feel that loneliness is a very slow growing emotion. I think that being alone might feel amazing at first, and I still love being alone, and I think that we can get so used to it that it becomes so comfortable, and I think this is when it gets a little bit not worrisome, but it gets to the point where I think you need to be more conscious of connections. So for example, I have been a little bit of a loner, and I've been loving it. I love the idea that I don't have to be somewhere at a certain time. I don't have to schedule things at a certain time. I can just do everything on my time without worrying about anybody. And trust me, at times this is great, but I think that I have put myself in a position where I've isolated myself so much from the world around me, or I've isolated myself from friends just because I've been working, and this is when it can get to the point where you just need to be more aware that you're isolating yourself and that this could cause some loneliness and some sadness later on. So my first tip, I guess I'm giving tips now, but my first thing that I would my first piece of advice for fixing loneliness is to be aware of your isolation. Be aware that you might be saying no to things just because you're comfortable where you're at, and maybe you have started to develop some anxiety towards social situations because it's understandable, it's normal. When you are alone all day, you almost forget how to talk to people. So completely understand that, and I just want you guys to know that you're not alone if you're feeling this way, and a lot of us feel this way, so you're not alone. Don't worry about that. And it's almost kind of funny when you look back on it. It's like, how do I even start a conversation, because I've been staring at my computer and talking to my cat literally for the past 3 years. But yeah, so just be aware of yourself possibly isolating yourself too much and make a plan to fix that. So when I was writing my notes, I was like, okay, the basic things everyone tells you: go join a networking group, go meet with someone for lunch, go do this, go do that. And I started to write that out. I started to write, okay, you can leave your office, go work at a coffee shop. You could do all those things, but in reality, none of that really fixes the deep loneliness that you might have. And I think I figured out, well, I know I figured out, at least for myself, the root of loneliness. And I want to share that with you guys. Loneliness, like I said, it doesn't always mean that you're alone. It could literally mean that you've lost touch of who you are, you've lost touch of what you offer to the world, and you've lost touch of the value you bring to everyone around you. And I know this sounds serious and deep, but in reality, I think that is truly it. Because when you isolate yourself, when you're so alone, you become a little bit more, you put a little more pressure on yourself, especially if you're an entrepreneur and you wanting to do the best, you want to bring your best foot forward. You're probably putting a lot of pressure on yourself, putting extra hours, just being a little bit over analytical in terms of who you are and what you offer and what people perceive of you and all of that. So I really do think that loneliness roots in the fact that you might be losing touch of just what you offer to people and who you are. So I'm here to remind you that in order to cure loneliness, you need to bring value to other people's lives. And I know it sounds so simple, it might sound so crazy, especially if you're like, how do I speak to people now? I'm like isolated all the time. But I am telling you from my experience, if you are kind to others around you, if you do little acts of kindness, if you are just a genuine person and you're so nice and kind every time you leave the house, you will literally gain so much confidence in yourself, and you'll value yourself so much just because you're giving value to other people. And I'm not talking about like literally giving gifts or whatever it is. Like, I'm talking about if you go to the grocery store, if you literally are at a coffee shop and the barista is making your coffee, why not thank them? Why not make them feel great? Why not brighten their day? Why not, if you like her hair, say, oh my god, your hair looks so beautiful today? Or just say thank you. Just be kind, just smile. And I think it's so easy for a lot of us to just stay in our own world, isolate ourselves. But I am telling you from my experience, if you literally are kind to people and you just share your light, you will come back home and you'll be able to smile and realize that the value you're giving to other people in their lives is actually bringing value to your life. And I guess this is kind of what you would call karma. I really do believe in law of attraction still, and I feel that if you are putting positivity into the universe, if you are putting just like a great energy to other people's lives, it's gonna come back to you. And so much positivity will just flow through your life. And I really saw this happen this week for me. I met with quite a few friends for coffee, but instead of just a simple coffee date talking about our jobs, our lives, I legit wanted to make that person feel good about themselves when they left. I wanted to, even if it's just being positive or reminding them to look at the positive in the situation, or reminding them of how beautiful they are, or just how much you appreciate them meeting with you. It's like the simplest little comment like that brightens their day and makes them look at you and be like, oh my god, I want to be around this person all the time. Your loneliness will literally get cured. And yeah, it's really, really that simple. And the more positive interactions that you have, the more aware of your self-image you become. And I really felt like when I was in Sweden, I was pretty lonely. I'm not gonna lie, I was really alone, and I was so focused on myself. When you start to believe that others value you, you will literally feel less alone. And this is why I think that isolation is never really a good thing. And I know that being alone, you should love being alone. That's how you'll be happy for a long time, because you shouldn't rely on a boyfriend or a friend or someone to be around you to fulfill you. Like, being alone and being able to be happy and fulfilled is the goal in life. But I really think it's important to connect with people to remind you of the value you bring to the world. And you can be confident, you can be proud, you can be all that, but you never truly feel that value and understand how you're perceived until you connect with people. So I just think I really felt like I needed to share this with you guys because it's such an important topic, and it's something so hard to really explain to people that might be in a corporate office around people all day, or they might have so many friends that they never really experience loneliness. But I do, and I've dealt with it, and I've overcome it. I still deal with it some days, and I figured out what triggers the loneliness feelings. Alright, so I've mentioned the things that you could start doing to feel less lonely, but I also want to mention the things you should stop doing, because there's a lot of things we do that actually make us feel more lonely, and I definitely have caught myself in this. So don't feel like you need to post an Instagram picture or something on social media for validation, or to feel like you just want to understand how people view you, because I think that a lot of people post pictures for validation, but at the end of the day, you might be left feeling more lonely. So instead of initially going to do that, I would maybe think about doing something else, like something you love doing, and stop worrying about how other people around you are going to view you, or how they're going to look at that picture, whatever it is you're thinking about it. So that is something I would probably stray away from, especially if you're feeling extra lonely one day. However, I do feel social media is a great tool to connect with people, especially if you don't know anyone in your area. Social media is amazing for that. But don't feel the need to just get validation by using social media, because you just need to remind yourself and remember that you offer so much, and you are so perfect. You are literally so beautiful. You don't need anyone else to validate that. And instead, you should try and foster a new relationship with somebody that actually loves you, respects you, no matter what you post. So I would just kind of try and keep that in mind, because I think that posting for the wrong reasons can make you feel a little more lonely. And it's honestly crazy to think that there's so many lonely people on social media that make themselves look like they are just happy and just full of so much, like, whatever. Like, social media can sometimes be perceived as you might be doing well, you might be not lonely, and that might even make people not reach out to you even more, especially if you look like you're doing like amazing. Then people won't truly understand how you're feeling, and I think it's important to express those feelings. I also think that if you're feeling lonely, to just avoid social media in general, and instead reconnect with people that you've had amazing coffee dates with, reconnect with people that you miss, and instead of scrolling through stories and seeing people together, it's just going to make you feel probably more lonely. So try and avoid that, and instead text them, call them, send them a nice message without looking at social media. Like, I'm telling you from experience, like literally even last Friday, I saw a bunch of people together, and it just got me in this weird funk where I felt undervalued, and I almost felt like I wish they had invited me. But at the end of the day, everyone is so busy, and people aren't always thinking about, oh, how is she feeling? Is she lonely? Is she happy? And honestly, as entrepreneurs, we are such busy people that I think a lot of times we might not always be invited places because we are so busy. So at the end of the day, I really feel like you just need to find someone that understands your lifestyle, that understands your commitments. This is how I combat my loneliness. I make sure to add value to other people's lives, whether it's strangers, whether it's friends. I make sure to let them know how much I appreciate them. I make sure to say thank you all the time. I make sure to compliment people if it comes to mind. I make sure to do all those because at the end of the day, I know it makes me feel like I am adding value to other people's lives, which in turn will add value into mine. Because what goes around comes around, and if you are so sweet, so kind, and so genuine to everyone, I mean, it'll never hinder you. It'll only help you, only bring so much joy and kindness into your own life. If you feel like you have social anxiety, which I think that it's easy to adapt social anxiety, especially if you isolate yourself, to remember that if you show up to that situation smiling, happy, genuinely listening, what do you have to lose? What do they have to judge? You're kind, you're nice, you listen, you share your opinions, your thoughts. You have nothing to lose, and they have nothing they can say bad about you, because if you're kind, that's all you can be. And that has really helped me in social situations where I'm like, if I'm smiling and I'm happy, it's gonna be great no matter what. Smiling and seeing like your smile make other people smile, it just makes you feel so good. So I don't know how much more I can express this, but I really hope that this helps you guys. And just remember that if you keep up this habit of spreading a light, spreading kindness, and spreading value to people's lives, eventually the right friend and the right person will come into your life. And yeah, but you have to put yourself out there. You have to, you know, share with others how you feel, because that's the only way you'll make connections. And yeah, so those are my tips. I really hope that this helps you if you're feeling lonely right now. Just remember that it's probably because you're losing sight of who you are, but I'm here to remind you that you are amazing. You add so much value, and you need to put yourself and your value out there more, because people love it and appreciate it and want it. So those are my tips, and I really hope this helped you guys. If you have any questions, or if you just want to talk, I am always here for you. But if you did like this video, I would appreciate it so much if you gave it a thumbs up, subscribe down below, and I will see you guys in my next video.